Coming up next, a woman on trial charged with the murder of her stepfather. Why prosecutors say she did it. We're in court.
A family's Christmas presents and much more damaged in a water main break.
Title 42 expected to expire next week. What that means for the influx of migrants who have been flooding our border.
People in this North Park neighborhood are one step closer to having safer streets. We explain coming up.
Plus, can a snow globe put your pet in danger? We verify.
And after dropping $50,000 on Halloween decorations, this La Jolla homeowner said wait until you see his Christmas display.
CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts right now.
A Solana Beach woman charged with murdering her stepfather took the witness stand late today, testifying in her own defense. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
I'm Marcella Lee. Prosecutors say Jade Jenks killed her stepfather after finding naked photos of herself on his computer. CBS 8's David Gottfredson is at the Vista Courthouse where testimony just ended for the day.
You know, he'll call me one day, say, let's do dinner on Tuesday next week.
Jade Jenks testified she used to have a loving relationship with her stepfather, Tom Merriman, when she was in her 20s, but then they drifted apart. Then, in 2020, she moved in next door to him on Nardo Avenue in Solana Beach.
I've always been a caretaker for Mr. Merriman, so...
Okay. What does that mean?
Anytime something would go wrong, when we lived together before, and then after I moved there, if he hurt himself, I'd go get bandages. If he was sick, I'd go get soup. Needed a ride to the doctor, I took him.
Under questioning by her defense attorney, she testified Merriman took a number of medications, including sleeping pills.
Did you share medication?
I have, yes.
When I say share medication, I mean with Mr. Merriman.
Yes. Most of the time it was, you know, he'd ask me for a medication, or I'd tell him to try something. Yeah, I did.
Okay. Did you ever use any of his medications?
No.
In late December, prosecutors alleged Jenks was cleaning up her stepfather's house and found naked photos of herself on his computer. Prosecutors showed the jury a series of text messages between Jade and a friend. In one message on the morning of New Year's Eve, Jenks allegedly texted the friend, quote, "I just dosed the hell out of him." Deputies found Merriman's body under a pile of trash next to the garage on January 2nd, 2021. An autopsy found he died from acute intoxication from sleeping pills. On the witness stand, Jenks claimed she had seen Merriman intoxicated in the past.
I couldn't understand anything he was saying. There was no conversation. He couldn't hear me. So I told him when he'd sobered up, you know, just not to come over that messed up, because there's no point.
Now, Jenks only took the witness stand late this afternoon. She has not testified about finding those naked pictures of herself on her stepfather's computer. And importantly, she has not gone through any cross-examination from the prosecution. All the questioning today was by her attorney, so her testimony will continue tomorrow.
So there's still a ways to go here, David. How much longer is this trial expected to last?
Well, we are told closing arguments are expected next week, so it should wrap up sometime next week.
Compelling case. David Gottfredson reporting live. Thanks, David. A 72-year-old man accused of molesting a 5-year-old girl at a San Diego church pleaded not guilty today. Chester Yang is facing 3 felony charges related to the alleged crime during a wedding rehearsal in 2017 at a church on the USD campus. Yang was arrested in Singapore back in May and extradited back to the U.S. this week. Today, we also learned that Yang was convicted of molesting another child back in 2001.
I feel like everyone else in our community. I mean, it's disappointing, right? We all want to protect our kids.
Yang now faces life in prison if convicted on all charges.
Tonight, the water is back on in a neighborhood in Nestor where a water main broke, damaging apartments and condos. Some families will have to stay in a hotel tonight. This happened overnight in the 2400 block of Grove Avenue. CBS 8's Abby Alford shows us the damage and the efforts to clean it up right before the holidays.
The Rosales family wrapped their Christmas presents last night and put them underneath the tree. Today, they're now over the stove, ruined from a water main break. Cars damaged from flooded parking lots. Families sweeping water out of their front door. Inside, feels like walking on a sponge.
You can hear it when you're walking. It's still pretty squishy.
Around 3 Thursday morning, a water pipe burst in the 2400 block of Grove Avenue in Nestor. Christina and her husband Joe Cecina woke up with 2 feet of water in their living room.
He just said, go get the neighbors, make sure the neighbors, tell them open their doors now. So we just started running.
They were banging on doors.
And I tell everybody, open your doors, come on guys, come on, we have to. No one even knew what was going on.
Next door, you can see the water line mark about 2 feet up the back door at Angie Rosales' home. The water and mud seeped through the living room, reaching up to her couch and soaked the presents she just put under the tree.
But I literally had just gotten off from work yesterday and I was like, oh, let me finish wrapping gifts. And then this happens.
Although Nestor is in the city of San Diego, it's California American Water Company's jurisdiction.
Like we're waiting for somebody to tell us something, so we know what's going on.
I called the company to help neighbors get some answers.
Now, what about for the residents whose all of their apartments are flooded?
A spokesperson for the water company says an aging 6-inch steel water main line that had been leaking broke, leaving 100 customers without water. The company says that they are in the final stages of the city to approve permits to upgrade that water main line, and water was restored around 4:30 tonight.
Thank you for finding out the information. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Property managers say through insurance they were able to deploy a restoration company. Joe is finally taking a break. He's also in the carpet cleaning and restoration business and had been helping his neighbors. They hope insurance will cover the damages.
Yeah, this is all of ours. We had to tear everything out of there.
The Country Air townhomes and apartments is notorious for flooding. I was here on Thanksgiving in 2019 when the complex flooded from heavy rain.
But this is an ongoing problem.
Now it's Christmas.
We lost so much right before Christmas. Right before Christmas.
But they did not lose their spirit.
So we're just very grateful that no one got hurt, and it's just materialist, things that we can replace.
In Nestor, I'm Abby Alford, CBS 8.
Abby. Tonight, a bill to rescind a COVID vaccine mandate for the U.S. military is on its way to President Biden's desk. The bill will also provide nearly $858 billion for national defense, which means a pay raise for troops. It authorizes about $45 billion more for defense programs than the president requested. It's also about 10% more than last year's bill. Lawmakers are trying to keep up with inflation and Russia and China. With COVID cases on the rise, the Biden administration is taking steps to prepare for the possibility of a winter surge. After pausing the program earlier this year, you can once again order up to 4 free rapid COVID tests at covidtests.gov, 4 free per household. The White House hopes more testing will mean less spread.
We don't want this winter to look like last winter or the winter before. And our winter COVID-19 preparedness plan helps us do just that.
Again, that address, covidtest.gov. The White House will use existing funding and test kit stockpiles, but is also asking Congress for billions in additional funding to continue the pandemic response.
People living in North Park's Altadena neighborhood have been complaining about reckless driving in their neighborhood for years now, pointing to speeding drivers and too many crashes. So they turned to CBS 8, and we've been working for you on this story for months now. CBS 8's Rocio De La Fe brings that neighborhood some good news.
Neighbors in Altadena are breathing a sigh of relief knowing that something's finally going to be done about the dangerous driving in the area. That's because the city has approved setting up speed bumps in order to cut down on the reckless driving that has plagued this community for years.
Residents here have been asking for traffic calming for literally decades.
People living in the Altameda neighborhood will soon see a solution to a problem that has haunted so many throughout the years, an issue that CBS 8 has been working to bring to light for months and asking the city to fix.
You've got small residential streets that are very close to the 805, and their facilitating was essentially freeway traffic. The problem is these are small streets that can't safely facilitate freeway commuter traffic through this area, and as a result, there's a lot of traffic violence in the area.
But now the Transportation Department is moving forward with a multi-phased approach that will make the area safer for everyone. The city will soon install speed bumps on 33rd Street, forcing speeding drivers to slow down.
I think this community is just really, really grateful and looking forward to having a sense of well-being.
Terrence Morrissey lives on the corner of 33rd and Redwood and has led the efforts to come up with solutions. He's worked closely with council members and city leaders to bring attention to the issue. Earlier this year, he and other neighbors created a petition with over 270 signatures to express their frustration and demand action.
I think nearly everyone on this street or the adjoining streets has a story of something. Last week, there was a hit and run 2 blocks that way. There was a high school student who did an illegal U-turn on Thorn Street and totaled a resident's car. That was just last Thursday. One of my neighbors on this block last week had their side mirror knocked off.
Morrissey says speeding drivers have hit countless of parked cars, run over pets, and he and his neighbors fear children and pedestrians could be next.
I would say there's probably not a week go by that something like that happens in this general area.
In a statement, Ryan Darcy with Councilmember Stephen Whitburn's office says they're excited to see much needed traffic calming improvements coming to Altadena, and that this is a direct result of the community working with their office to deliver results for the neighborhood.
When CBS got involved in this story, I think back in the spring or early summer, you guys have been out here twice now, this is the 3rd time. You sharing our story with a wider audience really helped, I think, put the spotlight on this issue and help keep city officials accountable.
The community is close to submitting petitions to the city, and once that happens, a work order will be put in for the installation to begin. Rocio de la Fe, CBS 8.
Thank you, Rocio. And don't forget, here at CBS 8, we're working for you. If there is something you'd like us to look into, please email us at workingforyou@cbs8.com.
Still ahead tonight, more migrants are crossing the border as Title 42 is set to expire next week.
Plus, nearly 24 tornadoes caused massive destruction in just 24 hours.
Talking about a lot of cloud cover for today. It's going to stick around at least through tomorrow morning. Current temperature for downtown is 56 degrees. We'll go ahead and take a look at that complete forecast coming up.